All right, welcome in. Well, this has been a long one. I was ready to go live at 11:30 sharp. 11:30 sharp. Guess what happens at 11:30 sharp? Power goes out. So I wait and I wait and I finally figure, well, it's probably be out, for hours longer. So I take some stuff to put myself to sleep and then the power goes immediately back on again. So fuck it. I'm going to fight through it all. It's late. It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. But so what? So what? I was planning to do a stream. I know people were waiting for me to do a stream. So I'm here and I'm doing the goddamn stream. I don't care if it's 2 o'clock in the morning. We're just going to do this anyway. And I guess people can listen to it tomorrow if they want. So what the hell are we going to talk about? And I'm going to try and keep myself awake here. I did take some sleeping stuff, so I don't know. If I force myself to stay awake, this could get a bit weird, but I guess we'll find out what happens. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. There's stuff that I haven't gotten to in my regular videos during the week, and we'll go through some of that. There'll be a couple of things that I have done stuff on, but they deserve a second look. And yeah, so let's do it. So the first thing we're going to look at, we'll go through them all right now. They see Kevin Smith saying, managed to catch another one. Okay, well, I'm glad that happened. Anyway, thanks for watching this. Yeah, so we're going to go through everything that we're going to talk about tonight. First, we're going to talk about the Republican presidential debate for a little bit. We're going to talk about, oh shit, hold on. God, I am tired. There we go. Now we can see the screen. All right. So we're going to talk about the debate. We're going to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy because he came out firing. Yeah, and he was, I don't know, he was badass. I liked what he did. I like him. I think he's good. I mean, he's not going to be the Republican nominee, but I like him. We've got Robert De Niro loses a sexism lawsuit, and I think he deserves it because apparently that's the sort of thing that he's really into. Like he's like this hardcore Democrat, right? Hardcore leftist. So I guess that's what happens. Let's see. Joy Behar dares Trump to punish The View co-host if he returns to the White House. Go ahead, try it. So she dares Trump to punish The View co-host if he returns to the White House. Why would they think that he'd be bothered? Anyway, okay, we'll get to that. Let's see if this loads. All right. Fentanyl letters sent to election centers across U.S. all originated in Portland. Big surprise. Donald Trump said he would consider Tucker Carlson to be his vice president. That's fine. I did cover this earlier in the week, but I think it deserves another look. Let's see. Maybe that sleep stuff is kicking in, but you know what? I'm going to fight through it and I'll be stronger on the other side. Trial begins for man accused of attacking Paul Pelosi with a hammer. So that'll be fun. We're going to go through that. Where are we now? Here we are. Petition launched in Canada to ban Tucker Carlson from entering the country. That is really, really stupid. It's quite amazing, actually, just how stupid that is. But we will take a look at that. And I actually did a video on that too. But we'll go over it. All right. Yeah, this is crazy. Canadian nurse forced to testify under cross-examination that women don't have penises. So a Canadian nurse forced to testify under cross-examination that women don't have penises. That's how crazy Canada is, of course. And why not? I mean, we've got to do the Canadian news, right? So we'll get into that. We're going to do some weird news. Then we're gonna do some Twitter stuff. If I can stay awake this long, I don't know if I can. Because there's always crazy shit going on in Twitter. And if we get into some stuff that's just too heavy, we're gonna look at some dogs, just as a palate cleanser. I think that's the thing we're gonna do all the time now, just constantly, actually. But let's get into this now. Third Republican presidential debate. The ratings fell for that. People aren't that interested, obviously, because everybody knows it's Trump. Now, there is this inevitability about it, right? Like, even though the Dems are playing dirty tricks, they're pulling out everything to try and destroy him. I worry about his health, honestly. You know, they're so determined to not have him become president again. But even with all of that, all of the lunacy, there just seems to be this inevitability about it, doesn't it? Does there not? Like, it just feels impossible in a way. In my mind, it almost feels impossible that he won't become president. It just, how could the story end that way? But people, not as many people watch the third presidential debate because it is kind of irrelevant in a sense. I mean, I guess you could be looking for somebody who might run as the VP, right? And we've got also some stuff about that later. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't interested. Now, if you didn't tune in, you missed Vivek, who just tore it up. He was pretty awesome. What do they say here? Ratings for the third Republican presidential debate on NBC fell even further than the viewership for the second GOP debate, and the Country Music Awards just barely missed scoring its worst showing ever. Okay. Let's see. Republican presidential hopefuls brought in 7.5 million viewers on the network, compared to the 9.5 million who tuned into the Fox Business, Univision, blah, blah, blah. So there's not that much interest. But if you had watched it, there was some fire. I mean, let's watch. Let's see if we can get this going.
Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Ross.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you, audience?
Wow, that's fire, right? That's fire. I was not expecting something that forthright. Now, if there's anybody, we've got some people on Rumble. Let me know how the audio is on there, because I had some complications setting up this stream tonight, what with the power going out and everything and having to start 2 hours late. But yeah, let me know how the audio is, everything. Make sure everything's running okay on that side of things. All right. But yeah, that's fire, right? I mean, I'm glad that I saw this. I couldn't believe it when I was watching it. I was like, wow, this guy's taking no prisoners. Let's go back again. Hold on.
Who's moderating this debate? This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have.
Just think about that. Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk moderating that. Of course, the audience would be 10 times as big, at least 10 times as big. Why don't they do that? Why have they got like Democrats moderating? It doesn't make any sense.
Times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's never a fair fight, is it? Like, conservatives, no matter where they are, no matter what country, whether it's the US or Canada, wherever, they just don't seem to be able to draw on that same wellspring of just like nastiness, right? I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty. I mean, I like that. I'm a big fan of that. Here, let's check out this one as well. I want conservatives in general, conservative politicians, to be like that. Because it's not like, things have gone too far right or things have become too conservative. Things have gone way too far left now. Way too far. I mean, this isn't your grandfather's liberalism stuff. This isn't the old burnout art teacher from the 80s stuff, liberal left-wing stuff. No, this is a whole new breed of it. A whole new breed of crazy.
You campaign on TikTok. How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which was about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my
before
daughter
appreciating
out of your
anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer.
Yeah, it's a tough one with the TikTok, right? I mean, I guess just one answer is just, it is foreign. It's owned by a Chinese company. Just fucking ban it, right? Ban it, or it's clearly being used as a tool to undermine and degrade Western civilization. Clearly. I don't know how much more clear that could be. Again, I'm a free speech guy, but at what point, or there must be some way to address it. I mean, if it's just blatant propaganda meant to undermine your society and destroy your society, you have to do something. I mean, it appears that Vivek Ramaswamy is suggesting that they use it themselves to try and counteract it. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments or in the chat. Let's burn through these. It's late. Robert De Niro loses sexism lawsuit brought by ex-assistant. Company must pay her $1.2 million. Well, I don't like Robert De Niro. I also think like sexism lawsuits. Like, what is that exactly? It's like somebody, like what does that mean exactly? Sexism lawsuit. Let's find out. Let's see. Graham Chase Robinson was awarded 2 identical damages payments of $600,142 for gender discrimination and retaliation after filing the lawsuit against the actor's production company. Blah blah blah. She originally sought $12 million. Graham Chase Robinson. Well, I guess it's modern day, right? Graham Chase Robinson. Okay, whatever. Let's move on. I mean, for one thing, Graham is a terrible name for a woman, right? For a little girl. Look at that. Look at your adorable little daughter. What's her name? Graham? That's weird, right? It's like calling your kid, like your daughter Brad or something. All right, let's get past it though. The settlement amount was meant to represent 4 years of lost work based on her previous salary. Robinson, 41, claims she was unable to find a new job after being let go from De Niro's employment and faulted him for it. She was unable to find a new job after being let go from his employment and faulted him for it. See, I don't have any. This all sounds like bullshit to me, but I have absolutely no sympathy for Robert De Niro. Sure, he's been in some fantastic movies. He's been great in some movies. He's a great actor. But it's acting, it's pretending, it's adult playtime, right? Like, we don't have to admire the man. Like, he didn't write the words. He didn't write, the screenplay for Goodfellas or Raging Bull or Taxi Driver. He's just really good at pretending in them. But he's also an obnoxious leftist. Remember he wanted to punch Trump. Really? For one thing, I don't think that would have gone so well for him. It's not like Trump is in the greatest shape in the world, but he's a big dude, and De Niro I think is even older than Trump. So anyway, I thought that was all obnoxious and very, very stupid. And I didn't like listening to him. It's kind of a bummer too when these people are in like some of your favorite movies maybe, and it turns out they're just complete dingbats. De Niro countersued his former employee for $6 million to account for the airline miles she allegedly stole from him, but she was found not liable. $6 million in airline miles that she stole from him? What? Okay. I guess I'm not living the good life. We are delighted that the jury saw what we saw and the verdict was returned, blah, 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 blah. What was this actually about? Let's try and figure that out. Robinson began working for De Niro's company in 2008 as an executive assistant with a $75,000 a year salary. She exited in April 2019, so that's a good long stretch there. It's 11 years, with the title of VP of Production and Finance and a $300,000 salary. Robinson accused De Niro of calling her a bitch. I wonder if she was, on multiple occasions, and berating her for minor infractions. I don't know. Is that worth $600,000? I don't care that he has to pay. But is it really worth $600,000? He called her a bitch and berated her for minor infractions. I can understand. I can imagine Robert De Niro is a horrible, horrible, intolerable boss. But usually what you could do is just find another boss, right? I would think. Because stuff like this probably makes people wary of hiring people, right? If they're going to have problems, maybe they just do without. The whole thing is dumb in Hollywood, so it's not really surprising. All right, let's move on from raging bullshit. Joy Behar dares Trump to punish The View co-host if he returns to the White House. Go ahead and try it. These people are lunatics. I mean, the level of narcissism here. She's genuinely afraid that she's on the top of Trump's list of idiots. Sure, she is a giant idiot, and she's incredibly obnoxious. I think he probably would have bigger fish to fry and the idea that Trump is going to punish TV hosts, these people have lost their minds. It's like they have this completely made up character in their mind, this fictitious, they do. They have a fictitious character in their mind that they've worked themselves up to. In fact, it's become their entire identity. Fighting, resisting the made up person in their mind who doesn't exist, who's going to punish TV hosts. I mean, get your head out of your ass, Joy Behar and the rest of The View. The View co-host Joy Behar dared former President Trump to come after her and her co-hosts if he returns to the White House and enacts revenge against his political enemies. Well, if he did, what the fuck would they do about it? I don't think much. I mean, that's kind of the scary thing about what's happening to all of Trump's political associates or friends even now, right? Like, it's kind of scary that the government's going after them and there's nothing they can do about it. I don't imagine why Joy Behar thinks that it would be any different. Of course, she cheers it on under Biden. right? She thinks it's fantastic. Like, these people don't have mirrors. It's truly astonishing. Wow, I'm really ranting well tonight, considering that it's past 2 o'clock in the morning, and I have taken sleep stuff. Not necessarily meds, not meds, but stuff that to get you to sleep, And it's not working apparently. It seems to be making me more insane though. All right, let's see how far we can take this. Go ahead, try it, Behar said into the camera after discussing reports that Trump's second presidential term would involve him getting even with those who opposed him during his first term. Look at that. Look at that. It's like something that like oozed up out of like a giant fissure, like the San Andreas fault opened up and then that came out of it. Terrifying. Let's move on. Breaking: fentanyl letters sent to election centers across U.S. all originated in Portland. That doesn't seem that strange to me. It has since been revealed that the letters all originated from a single location in Portland, Oregon. And here's the letter. It says, "End elections now. Stop giving power to the right that they don't have. We are in charge now, and there is no more need for them. Also, be aware that your ballot drops are very susceptible to noxious chemicals, like blah, blah, blah. They're unsafe to the public. Just saying." So this is exactly, and this has Antifa symbolism on it here, as you can see, and then like the trans rainbow thing, and then like a upside down pentagram, but this is like an Antifa thing. This is exactly how they think. There's no reason. I mean, I guess the point is that could it be like some sort of false flag or something? Maybe the feds have finally gotten sick of them. But that is exactly what you would expect from this. There's nothing surprising on this. We are in charge now, and there is no more need for them. For elections, they're talking about. Yeah, I mean they are explicitly authoritarian, explicitly totalitarian. They don't like elections. Antifa they are communist revolutionaries. I mean, they call themselves anarchists. No, they're communist revolutionaries. They're not fooling anyone. They are totalitarians. This is perfectly in line with their lunatic beliefs. One question I always have is, have these people actually read anything about like communist? Have they read about like Mao and like the Cultural Revolution, Great Leap Forward, or the Soviets, or the Holodomor, the millions of people who starved to death, the purges? And I used to think that they were just ignorant, but I don't think so now. I think that they have read that stuff. They have read about the tens of millions of people that were murdered or starved in communist countries. You think of Cambodia, the killing fields, anywhere that they've been successful, that's what success means for them. But I don't think that these modern people that are clamoring for this stuff, I don't think that they're actually ignorant. I think that they have read. They do know this, and they want it. Like you might have noticed from some of the pictures of these people that they don't look the mentally healthiest. They look like the kind of people that would be hungering for horrors that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemies, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to believe that that's them until I'm proven otherwise. What does this say? An unarmed source or an unnamed source with access to the investigation has reported to us that the fentanyl letters received around the country with threatening messages all originated in a single point of entry in the U.S. Postal System, blah, blah. What else have we got here? All right, what does this say here? Says that according to former Federal Bureau of Investigations agent Kyle Seraphin, sources with access to the investigation said that the letters all originated, blah, blah, blah. We've already been there. Okay, so it had fentanyl on them, which obviously a tiny little bit can be fatal for you. Come from Portland. That's like Antifa capital. That's like their capital city. They basically do already run the place, apparently. So yeah, I guess no surprises there. All right. Anyway, I'm going to avoid that place. I don't know about you. Donald Trump said that he would consider Tucker Carlson to be his vice president. And how awesome would that be? Be pretty great, right? Tell me in the chat, like, how enthusiastic would you guys be? With the people watching right now, how enthusiastic would you be for Tucker Carlson to be vice president, to run for vice president? And I know it's very pie in the sky, but just as an idea, just tell me what you think, how excited you would be by that. I mean, I think it would be freaking amazing. It would be the most interesting thing that could possibly happen, right? Beyond all of the other incredibly interesting things that are happening. It is like the 2024 election is shaping up to be totally crazy. And how much more crazy could it be? Who was it that said, the most likely thing is always the most interesting? I don't know if that's true, but this would be very interesting. All right, hold on one second. Let's listen to Trump here. Says he would consider Carlson as his running mate. Let's hear the audio.
Would you consider Tucker, though, that they based on the
I like Tucker a lot. I guess I would. I think I'd say I would because he's got great common sense.
So he thinks he would because Tucker's got great common sense. I made a video about this earlier in the week, and those words, common sense, these are, I think, could be the most powerful words in the West moving forward. Common sense, as opposed to fucking batshit crazy lunacy, right? I think a lot of people are just kind of, conditioned to the lunacy now because it's actual, like, real politicians. It's like not even just professors anymore. It's the people reading the evening news. An actual, like Justin Trudeau. He's as woke as it gets. You couldn't be more woke than him. He would beat you in a wokeness contest every single time because however shameless you might be, he's more. And I don't think you guys are, by the way. So it would be easy for him to beat you at a wokeness contest. But that's not a bad thing for you. But the words common sense, these need to be the defining words for the next, decade, maybe the next 100 years. Common sense, because as the left moves further and further and further away from what normal people can recognize as pragmatic or just sane, those words will have more and more power. Common sense. Common sense. Trump knows that. Right? It's like, how many things have you seen, like, earlier today where if you were on Twitter and just went, oh, come on. Really? Oh, come on. Jesus. How about just some common sense? Now, with Tucker Carlson, if he were to run with Trump as vice president, I think that would present some unique opportunities. Now, I had somebody in the Rumble comments for my video that I put out, I think yesterday, saying, I think it was Elise saying that her sister was like a Jimmy Dore fan and also likes Tucker. Well, why would that be? Because Tucker has Jimmy Dore, who's a socialist. Well, when he was on Fox, he had Jimmy Dore onto his show many times, right? And not in an adversarial role, not as an adversary, not to argue about socialism or any of that stuff, right? But to meet on the points where they agree, which was like anti-interventionism, like Julian Assange, they agree on, free speech, they agree on, right? Same thing with Glenn Greenwald. So I think it would give him an opportunity to get, I don't know how many votes, but make some inroads with voters who may be disenchanted with like the Democrat Party as it stands or establishment politics and see a potential ally or at least be better on the other side. I think that's a possibility through Tucker Carlson, who has built bridges with anti-establishment leftists, right? I think it's an interesting thought. Now, the bad news is that there's no way that Tucker's going to do it. He stated many times he has no interest in politics. He says, if he was the last person on earth, maybe. So, unfortunately, I hate to burst the bubble here, but yeah, I don't think there's any chance. As awesome as it would be. No, he's a family man. He doesn't want anything to do with it. And I can't blame him. Can you? All right. But interesting nonetheless, huh? So, trial begins for man accused of attacking Paul Pelosi with hammer. So, I guess a refresher. You remember Paul Pelosi is Nancy Pelosi's husband. He was at home one night. Police were called. There was a man in the house, and apparently he hit Paul Pelosi with a hammer, but the question was, how did he get into the house? Because it would seem like if you have the husband of the Speaker of the House, it's President, Vice President, and then Speaker of the House in terms of who would get to the president, basically the line, so if something happens to the president, something happens to the vice president, Speaker of the House takes over. That would have been Nancy Pelosi. God forbid. And the story was that this guy broke a window, climbed in, and was hanging out with Paul Pelosi for a while. The whole thing was weird. There was a call in. The whole thing was very confusing. I just thought it would have to be just incredible incompetence for like some San Francisco weirdo to break into the house of the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi's house, in the middle of the night, break a window. I mean, how can that happen? How is there not security? How is there not surveillance? That still doesn't make any sense to me. That's like somebody smashed a window and got into the White House. That doesn't make any sense. How can that possibly be? I mean, at least on paper, the third most important person in the government. Just some like weird hippie, drugged out hippie can break a window and get into the house. It's weird. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, I wasn't there, thank God. But, I mean, you see what I'm saying here, right? DePape, 43, has pleaded not guilty to charges of attempted kidnapping of a federal official and assault of an immediate family member of a federal official. How did he get it? Like, how was he allowed to get into that? It just seems pretty odd Did he really break a window and get in? I mean, that's a question, right? If convicted, he faces up to 50 years in prison and a $500,000 fine. Well, why would you fine him $500,000? He has no money. He was selling bracelets that he made himself. According to the New York Post, the trial is expected to last through next week, and will include testimony from numerous witnesses. Let's see. Among those listed by the prosecution are the surgeon who operated on Pelosi, San Francisco police officers, first responders, and agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Nancy Pelosi is not expected to testify. I am not surprised by that. How is this? So, I mean, we already know how the trial's going to go, right? They're going to throw the book at him. I don't know if they're letting people in to witness it. It'd be interesting to see, you know? What's the guy's name again? It's tired, remember? And I've taken sleeping stuff. DePape. Mr. DePape. Mr. DePape, point on this doll where Mr. Pelosi touched you. And that's when he grabbed your hammer, correct? I don't know. I feel like there was something weird going on there. I mean, call me crazy. Call me heartless. I don't know. What do you think? That's the question. That's what I want to know. What exactly was going on with the hammer grabbing? What exactly was he doing in there in the middle of the night? Let me know what you think in the chat. I know it's late. But you can do it. How about this? I did a video on this one as well, but I thought we'd take another look at it. Petition launched in Canada to ban Tucker Carlson from entering the country. Canada is so retarded. I mean, I'm in Canada, so I know. I can say Canada is retarded. Now, it's waking up, absolutely. And I shouldn't say, like, the conservatives are way ahead in the polls right now, right? Because we have the parliamentary system, we have multiple parties. It's like 40% for the conservatives right now. So it's not like they're like 60%, 40%, but that's more than enough to take a massive lead over the liberals. So people are waking up, but there is going to be this persistent culture of woke dingbattedness that's going to persist. So you've got a petition launched in Canada to ban Tucker from entering the country. And there we go. Petition for denying entry to Tucker Carlson to Canada. So normally I would say, obviously, this is just ridiculous. This is just a rando starting a petition on like change.org or something. But remember that we have Justin Trudeau as prime minister. And Justin Trudeau is a monster, right? Justin Trudeau, there's really nothing off the table with Justin Trudeau. This is the guy who froze people's bank accounts, right? The Emergencies Act over a peaceful protest. He calls everybody that disagrees with him an hysterophobe or whatever. Kind of nothing's off the table with him. I mean, scandal after scandal after scandal. This is not a principled man. Like, if any world leader was going to do that, it would be Trudeau. And he would do it for politics, political reasons. Now, I think that him being so unpopular right now, it's a double-edged sword, right? It could make him more careful, but it also could make him more erratic and more flailing, right? And desperate. So, no, I don't think that Trudeau is going to deny Tucker Carlson entry to Canada to do a speech here in Calgary. But I wouldn't be that surprised if he did. And it wouldn't help him, by the way. It would sink him even deeper. Like in Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, Tucker's popular there. Let's see. The news that Tucker Carlson, the former top-rated anchor on cable news, is coming to Calgary on January 24th, 2024 to share an event with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has set off alarm bells throughout the Canadian left. Excuse me. Alarm bells through the Canadian left because the Canadian left is just as retarded as the American left or the British left or wherever. They are just as alarmist and hysterical. And they believe that Tucker Carlson is this crazy far left figure. Crazy. Let's see what it says here. Hold on. Let's see. Alberta New Democratic Party, NDP. NDP is like Canada's most woke party. And they're basically communists. Not technically the Communist Party of Canada, but basically. They run at like 18% of the popular vote, which is terrifying, really. But the NDP leader, Rachel Notley, who heads the official opposition in the province, urged Smith to cancel the event because Carlson is not a credible figure. Not a credible figure. Rachel Notley says that Tucker Carlson is not a credible figure. It's a guy who was the top-rated anchor on cable news for years, getting like, 4-5 million viewers a night? I would say that, I would venture that he is more credible than her. If for nothing else, he's not a socialist, right? But these people are demented. Whether they believe it or it's just politics, I don't know. Quote, the fact that our premier believes it's appropriate to normalize. They hate things being normalized. Well, things that they don't like being. They like normalizing weird shit like telling little kids that they're born in the wrong body. That's good for normalizing. But actual normal, they're not wild about that. Normalize the things this person would say, such as, by appearing on a stage with him, demonstrates a profound lack of judgment on her part. No, I think it's good judgment on her part, and I think it's going to go over well with her own constituency. I would call on the Premier to immediately cancel the planned appearance because Albertans deserve better from their leadership. Oh, shut the fuck up, you fucking dingbat. It's late. It's late. You have to forgive me these digressions. Smith has reinstated her intent to meet with extremist Tucker Carlson. Extremist. You know who's an extremist? Anybody who didn't like trans a fetus this week, right? That's an extremist to them. Anybody who just like has normal thoughts or wants to be left alone. These are all extremists to these people. Do they really believe it? Is it just politics? Is it a bit of both? Who cares? I'm really of the mind now that just anything that has just the sniff of leftist, woke, progressive, anything just needs to be discounted out of hand. Just not even listen to at this point. We kind of need to do what they've been doing. You know, they just anything that's common sense, they just plug their ears and cover their eyes and they can't hear, right? They panic, they go hysterical. Well, I don't think we should do that. But I think at this point, it's just anything that comes from them now, just no courtesy whatsoever. Just no. Like in the meme, right? No. It's pointless trying to even negotiate because they don't care. I mean, if you're saying that Tucker Carlson, the guy who was the most popular cable news host for years by far, is an extremist, well, you're just retarded at that point. Like people that want free speech, that's what they think is extreme. That they think that's extremism, right? Or who don't want to like bomb foreign countries. That's also extremism to them, apparently, as far as I can tell. By appearing on stage with a person with such hateful, harmful views, Smith shows a total disregard for the negative consequences this will have on Alberta's reputation and casts severe doubt on her own. Do they believe it? Did they not believe? I mean, hateful, harmful views. Again, anything they don't agree with is hateful and harmful, right? Again, if you didn't trans your dog this morning, you're hateful. Let's move along. Canadian nurse forced to testify under cross-examination that women don't have penises. That's right. Again, this is Canada. We have some crazy shit going on up here. Canadian nurse forced to testify under cross-examination that women don't have penises. This has been going on a while, for like a year now. This poor woman there's been a witch hunt within the nursing profession. The nursing body, the British Columbia College of Nurses and Midwives, have been torturing this poor woman because she believes in biology. And that's really what it comes down to. All right. What'd she say? She says they're trying to kick her out of the profession for, well, let's read. Things I've testified under oath. Women don't have penises. Lesbians don't have penises. Males cannot be lesbians. Males calling themselves lesbians are heterosexual men. Homosexuality is same-sex attraction. You cannot literally change your sex. Your sex is not assigned at birth. This is all just perfectly sane, right? Like, women don't have penises. I think nurses used to know that, right? I'm pretty sure they did. Lesbians don't have penises. Canada speaks for itself. Males cannot be lesbians. Again, this is stuff you really didn't have to think about in the past. It was just kind of, well, people were saying, I guess. Her name is Amy Eileen Ham. And here, trending in Canada, a hashtag I stand with Amy Ham. Again, people are starting to wake up in Canada. Conservatives are way ahead in the polls. But this sort of thing where people are persecuted for not being woke in institutions, like what happened with Jordan Peterson with the College of Psychologists, right? This stuff is going to take a while to get rid of because like crazy people, people in the States and England and Australia, the whole English-speaking world, as well as the non-English speaking world, like in Europe, France, they're all riddled through with wokeness as well. But the institutions have been infiltrated by woke communists, like revolutionaries, crazy people who don't actually mean well, in my opinion. And it's going to take a while to get them out. I mean, that's kind of the thing with liberal democracies, right? The world that the communists want, like Antifa wants, for instance, or college professors, apparently, like 60% of them want. They don't have that problem. Like China doesn't have that problem, right? They're not happy. They just go take them all and they take them somewhere. And anyway, they're not a problem anymore. Liberal democracy, you can't do that. And it's good that you can't do that. But it obviously, because, I mean, if that happens, you're not free. But it does present some challenges, right? People can use that, like free speech can be used against itself, right? These are tough problems. They're going to take a long time to solve, but I think that we can. I'm hopeful. I'm not black-pilled. like some people. All right. Here's weird news. So let's just go through this really quickly. Let's see. Hold on one second. Wildlife refuge pond in Hawaii mysteriously turns bright pink. Well, I think it's full of AIDS. I think some AIDS got in there and bred, and now it's just full of AIDS. So I wouldn't go in there if I were you. I can't think of what else it would be. Aussie who slept with 300 people in 1 year embarking on new challenge. I'm going to guess it's wheelchair basketball. Slept with 300 people in 1 year embarking on new challenge. What could that challenge be? It's probably something to do with venereal disease testing, I guess. Maybe she went swimming in the refuge pond in Hawaii, and that's why it turned pink. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. Say what, meow? Say what, meow. Cats use hundreds of different facial expressions. All of them mean, I hate you. I think. Well, I think we're going to have to. You know what? Oh, look at this one. A woman felt something in her ear. A spider was living in her ear canal. 64-year-old woman in Taiwan woke up one morning in April and felt something rustling. You know what? I think we'll just actually skip that because I do have to fall asleep tonight. That's a nightmare. That's more of like a Halloween story. Let's not go there. All right. Let's get to the Twitter stuff. I think we're not going to go as long as we normally go just because it's so goddamn late. So I think this will be our last run here. What's this? The San Francisco homeless population has miraculously gone missing as President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are set to meet in the liberal city. Remarkable. You just can't make it up, can you? The typical drug addicts and homeless who wander the city like zombies have disappeared. So, actually, there's a bit more there. Have disappeared as 20,000 people are expected to visit San Francisco thanks to the APEC summit. The New York Post says sources have told them that the homeless are being herded out to other areas of the city. Well, that doesn't sound very compassionate. That doesn't sound like empathy. It doesn't sound like all of Joe Biden's famous empathy. Herding all the homeless people out of San Francisco so that he can meet with a communist. Funny thing is that they're all, I don't know what percentage of San Francisco is communist, but it's lots of them. So, all right. I think I have to say that again, just so I can, they don't care about homeless people in San Francisco, right? Like forever. But then a communist dictator's coming, so they herd them all out of the city. Does anybody think these people care about anything? I'm tired. And that just makes me more tired. All right. So this looks like some sort of a woke thing. Let's take a look at this. All right, come on. Let's go. Let's go, blue hair. Maybe we'll reload that page. All right, here we go. Let's see what this dingbat's got to say.
A reminder that unless someone tells you their gender, you literally have no way of telling. And yes, that includes your own children. I don't care how young they are.
Okay. The problem here is that they're actually talking about something different than what we're talking about, right? For us, sex and gender, well, not just for us, but sex and gender were just synonyms. They just meant the same thing. That's what people meant forever, right? And then there was this redefinition of gender into something that's like the progressive soul, right? It's this abstract idea that's unfalsifiable. It's pure pseudoscience. It's gibberish. Doesn't make any sense. It's unfalsifiable. It's purest nonsense, right? That's what they're talking about, though. And for them, it's real. It's an article of faith. It has to be an article of faith. Again, it's not material anyway. It's metaphysical, right? They've turned the word gender into this metaphysical abstract idea. And for them, it is an article of faith that it's real. That's what they're talking about. So when she's saying you can't tell the gender, right? You can't tell somebody's gender. Well, let's watch it again.
That unless someone tells you their gender, you literally have no.
You literally have no. We hear that and we go, well, we can see. We can see. She can call herself, non-binary. We know, right? People can, Ellen Page can call herself Ethan Page. We know, right? But for them, you literally have no way of telling because it could be anything. Don't forget, it's not just man woman. It's infinite numbers of genders. They have things like omnigender, where they're like every gender, right? Or gender void, where they have no gender. There are people that think they're deer. The person you're talking to could think that they're a deer, right? You would have literally no way of knowing. That's what this dingbat's talking about. And being smug about it as if it makes any fucking sense. You don't know that they're not frog gender. It's the smugness.
Way of telling. And yes, that includes your own children. I don't care.
Don't talk about people's fucking kids. This is a major problem. They've got this obsession with this. They haven't thought any of it through. They're deranged. Just a hint here on healthy living. Don't listen to people with blue and green hair, right? What they're going to tell you is probably going to be utter horseshit. It's creepy as fuck, too. I don't care. Your own kids, I don't care. These people are nutbars. When you read about, like, the Red Guard, Mao's Red Guard during the Cultural Revolution, like, this is what they remind me of. And they were up to no good. They made life hell for, especially, Chinese professors, intellectuals, or just anybody, fellow students who weren't sufficiently revolutionary enough or were denounced as not being for whatever reason, right? There's a lot of revenge that happens when you have those kinds of revolutionary movements. So, yeah, it's ridiculous, but you need to take the fact that there are people like this seriously, because they can become a real problem if they get power. Oh, this is funny. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Real Housewives of Hamas. So I feel like what this is mocking is like comfortable middle class Western women, feminists, leftists who are virtue signaling over Palestine with really no clue as to what any of it means, right? Or the culture that they're cheerleading, what any of it means. I think that's where they're going with that, and I think it's funny. Here is Lawrence Fox taking down like Palestinian flags off British monuments. Get your flags off our monuments. I believe that he feels like he's being colonized, and I'm not totally sure that he's wrong. Here, Hamas supporters in New York City have surrounded Grand Central Station and are attempting to breach the outer doors to reach police officers sheltering inside. So in the United States, this is happening. In New York City, breaking. This is fucking nuts. Like, who wants that? Like, who wants like some like Mideast blood feud in their neighborhood? This is sort of thing is not a good sign. It's not a positive sign for your communities. I mean, what more can you say? You know what? I think we have to go to the palate cleanser because that's just depressing. We have to look at the puppies. This is our palate cleanser. When things get too heavy, we look at some puppies. Let's see that. Well, that little dog wants to go down the stairs, but it's scared. It looks like the big dog is trying to encourage it to go down, but it won't. That's adorable. You know what my favorite thing about this this video of these dogs, these puppies is that no Hamas militants ran in and stabbed them. That's my favorite. Well, look at this guy. Oh, the eyes. Look at this guy. You know what my favorite thing about this one is that nobody is transing it or giving it a vaginoplasty in this video. That's my favorite thing about this one. Well, I feel better now. I feel cleaner. Let's go back to where we were. Go back to the horrible stuff. Okay. You know, I did a video on this just tonight, but if you haven't seen it, yeah, let's take a look. All right. I think we got to do it.
On though?
Yeah.
You're going in on.
So
What's going
set
on?
the scene here. So it's obviously a police officer. There's a drunk driver who was driving down the wrong side of the street, and this goes hilariously woke.
Why are you driving in the wrong way of traffic?
No, I just got changed around. I just moved here like 2 months ago. and
Okay.
I just got changed around.
Okay. Do you understand what's going on though?
Yes.
You're going into oncoming traffic.
I know, and I just decided that it was better just to turn around really quick.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. I just have like really bad social anxiety and stuff.
I get you.
I don't want to step out whenever you're asking for stuff.
Okay. Well, we're past that. Just go ahead and step out.
As an Indigenous person,
Right back here, please. Miss Perry? Am I?
well, I'm non-binary, so.
Okay. What do you?
So she was pulling out like every woke magic spell here. Indigenous, anxiety, non-binary. None of it's working, by the way. Let's keep going.
Bye.
It's Kai.
How can I refer to you tonight? Kai?
Kai.
Okay. Hey, I'm smelling alcohol.
I know.
How much have you consumed tonight?
Like probably 3 drinks.
I need to run you through some tests right now. Stand facing me, please.
But I just want you to know that I also have very bad social anxiety.
You and me both.
Okay.
Okay? Any recent head trauma? traumatic
So
brain-
you and me both. She wasn't expecting that. He threw it back at her. She has no defense against that. Let's continue.
Is anything I need to know about?
Mental, yes.
Focus on my finger, please.
I am. You're just like trying to intimidate me.
I don't know how I'm trying to do that. This is the test.
As you know, as an Indigenous person, and there's a bunch of going around, I'm sorry, but it's just for me to be on my toes.
I get you.
Can you remember that I told you that I'm non-binary?
Yeah, I'll try my hardest. I'll refer to you.
This cop has the patience of a saint. Honestly, this has got to be hard. This is a hard job dealing with this. I mean, this is somebody who's clearly drunk, was driving down the wrong side of the street. I mean, you know, that's dangerous, right? That's a dangerous thing. Let's continue.
Kai, right?
Yes.
Perfect. I need to know if you have any injuries or anything that would prevent you from doing a standard walk or turn tonight.
Mental health.
Any physical injuries?
Mental, yeah. But no, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Mental, PTSD, depression, anxiety.
I get you.
What else you want?
Now with your right foot, place it in front of
Anxiety, depression, PTSD. I mean, it's just coming out in a flood here. Why would you think any of this would work? But let's continue.
left in a heel-to-toe touching manner with your arms by your side, just like this, ma'am.
Can you not call me ma'am, please?
I'm trying my hardest.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it means a lot to me.
I'm trying my
I
hardest.
don't feel like a man, so
Okay.
it's kind of triggering.
Right foot in front of your left. Nope. Go back.
I'm sorry, that's a whole man thing. Just like,
I apologize. Let's see if we can move forward from it. You have 0 questions?
no, but I just want to tell you that I suffer from really bad anxiety, especially with generational trauma and PTSD around white people and cops. Like,
So there we go. Generational trauma, whatever that means. Um, of course, she doesn't like white men, obviously, right? That's really bad. Does any of this mean that you should be able to just drive around wasted on the wrong side of the road?
it's just,
I'm going to speak with you right over here, okay?
no.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and place your hands behind your back.
Don't, dude.
Don't make it hard.
Please.
Don't make it hard.
No,
Don't. You're going to get a resistance.
Dude,
You're going to get a
I
resistance.
don't.
Don't resist.
Don't.
Listen to me. Don't resist.
Don't. You're being
Come
a
here.
white man and
Come here.
don't. I followed all of your shit. Like, as an indigenous person, like, you guys. You guys.
You're being a white man. She's drunk. She's driving on the wrong side of the road. Case closed. Does anybody want to live in a society where she gets to say, you're being a white man, and he has to say, oh, well, I guess you're right. Well, you got me there. Have a nice trip home. Like, I don't want to get run over by her. I'm assuming you guys don't want to either. This is, obviously this is somebody who's just been steeped in critical race theory, the anti-colonialist stuff, and just the, far left ideology in general. I don't know if she's been to university for it, if it's just a TikTok variety. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. It's not like you're going to get a deeper, experience in college of this. You just might be more of a communist, maybe, right? But it's all the same shit. TikTok, university, it's all the exact same nonsense. It's maddening. Obviously, it didn't work, right? So none of that worked. So that's one good thing. She probably will get like a slap on the wrist or nothing in court. She'll probably get an activist judge, probably. I don't know, depending on where she is. But being able to say that you're triggered is still, at least in this case, not enough. So I guess that's a good thing. We got that going for us. What else we got? So we did Real Housewives of Hamas. Did all this. Okay, there. GM has shut down EV production and abandoned most of their electric plans for good. This decision is sending shockwaves through the industry. Nearly 92,000 EVs are piling up at dealer lots with no customers to buy them. Who could have predicted any of this happening, right? Who could have? Now, what Trudeau was giving away billions of dollars to set up EV production, electric car battery production plants in Canada that looks like they're probably going to sit. Nothing's going to happen. The money's just going to go for nothing as usual. But who could have predicted this? I mean, they can try and push. They can try and socially engineer you. But it can only go so far when things become totally impractical and they're not pragmatic. When you still have some freedoms in a society, it's just not going to work. People who live in apartments, for instance, where are they going to charge it? There's not enough charging stations everywhere. It's all totally predictable, but it seems to be, it's a part of this kind of just jump without thinking mentality that seems to have gotten the West in its grip. Elon Musk rips George Soros for eroding fabric of civilization. Says he rescued Twitter from the far left. Maybe we'll come back to that one. Here's something. DEI must end right now. This is from Colin Wright. Those three letters, diversity, equity, and inclusion, encompass a radical ecosystem of related ideologies that are divisive, intolerant, racist, anti-truth, and even genocidal. Here I explain the effect DEI is having on academia using my own experience. So I think we'll take a look at this. Ideologies that are divisive, intolerant, racist, anti-truth, and even genocidal. You mean like showing up on time for work is... That's not solid theory? Showing up for work on time is racist isn't solid theory? Yeah. That's not real academics? Let's take a look here.
Ever since I was a teenager, I thought I wanted to be a college professor. I've always cared deeply about the pursuit of truth, so that seemed like a perfect career for me. When I first made the decision to pursue a career as an academic scientist, it appeared I could simply focus on learning the literature, asking questions, formulating hypotheses, designing and executing experiments, and then conveying my findings as clearly as possible in scientific journals. But that didn't turn out to be the case. When it came time to start applying for university professor positions, it became clear that my ability to do science or teach students was only a portion of what they cared about. Many universities had adopted a new policy. They insisted that applicants submit a diversity, equity, and inclusion statement. What is that? Generally, a DEI statement asks applicants to explain all the ways that they have contributed to fostering diversity in the past and how they will continue doing so in the future.
So that's just a way of hijacking academia, right? Just placing themselves at the top of the pyramid there, right? And so they can control everything underneath, including who's hired, what they can teach, how they can teach it. Anyway, let's continue.
Sometimes they even asked me to explicitly list all of the racial and sexual minorities I had ever mentored. Now, I care deeply about diversity, equity, and inclusion, but these DEI statements only wanted me to care about two kinds of diversity. Diversity of physical appearance, like skin color, and gender and sexual identity. They only cared about inclusion of those two groups, and they only cared about equity if it meant equal outcomes rather than the fair and equal treatment of individuals. But as an academic, I care more about fostering diversity of thought and advancing science than people's immutable characteristics. I've mentored plenty of racial and sexual minorities, but listing them to advance my own career didn't sit well with me. I never chose who to mentor or hire on that basis. I hire scientists because they happen to be the best candidates for the job. That's true equity. To think about my mentees solely in terms of their skin color, gender, or sexual orientation felt dehumanizing, like I was taking all their complexity, individuality, and humanity and reducing it to a single trait. Many DEI statement prompts make it clear what's expected of the applicant. To score well on UC Berkeley's DEI statement, for instance, applicants are explicitly told they're not to disagree with the use of racial affinity groups, which is the practice of racially segregating coworkers based on their skin color. I hardly see how morally objectionable segregation increases diversity. Why was I being required to agree with this in order to apply for a job as a scientist? In many instances, these DEI statements were being used as a first filter for job applicants, meaning that applications with low-scoring DEI statements would not even be considered, no matter how brilliant of a scientist or a professor they were. And commitment to this kind of DEI is often a requirement for tenure or other promotions. Not wanting to abandon my principles of diversity of thought, equity of treatment, and inclusion of anyone who can advance scientific progress, I ended up abandoning my dream of becoming an academic, a career I had pursued for over a decade.
See, this is the dysfunction the woke dysfunction that I often talk about, right? Because it's never about whatever it's about. The issue is never the issue. James Lindsay talks about this all the time. The issue is always revolution. That's it, right? It's not about academic excellence or, being a good historian or whatever, right? Or a good psychologist. It's about being a good revolutionary, always. And what this does is when you ignore merit, it introduces obvious dysfunction, right? Things work less well when you have less qualified people, especially when their motivations are suspect. Um, it may seem like a little thing, like some little woke thing, like the students at a, where was it in Colorado, where there was a boulder that they thought was racist, and the university had to remove it. You think, well, it's just a little thing, but when it infects everything, every aspect, and when it eventually affects every aspect of your life, then you're in the Soviet Union, right? Then you're in China. And let's continue here. But yeah, it's this continuing saturation of dysfunction that is really troubling, that we need to stop, because it will be our downfall. And I think that's the intent behind it. But anyway, let's go.
But this video really isn't about me. I'm okay. I do work that I love, writing about science for the general public. However, my experience is anything but unique. I've heard stories from dozens of my scientific colleagues who've also felt uncomfortable and confused about why they're being asked to pledge adherence to an intolerant ideology that has nothing to do with science. Many of my colleagues who currently have academic jobs, some tenured even, are worried that their fundamental disagreements with how their departments are pursuing DEI might result in their firing. Some are even so afraid that they're simply pretending to agree. The pursuit of truth requires a strong commitment to academic freedom and free speech. If academics are self-censoring rather than voicing their honest opinions, we have a major problem. In that environment, universities can no longer function as institutions primarily concerned with finding truth. DEI statements don't foster diversity, but conformity. They don't result in equity, but unfairness. They're not about inclusion, but rather the exclusion of people with differing opinions. We need diversity of thought to get the best ideas to fight racism and bigotry, but the DEI orthodoxy prevents that. Without including diverse perspectives, we cannot identify our own blind spots. And when we create blind spots in the name of justice, no matter how good one's intentions are, we can end up with severe consequences. I'm Colin Wright. Join me in doing DEI right and building a better academia at fairforall.org.
When you get into sciences, I mean, that's when, the dysfunction does get extremely dangerous. I mean, I've brought up before in my videos, not for a while now, but a scientist called Lysenko in the Soviet Union. And he was just full in an ideologue. And he had he was put in charge of agriculture in the Soviet Union. And because he was blinded by ideology, he came up with these socialist methods for agriculture, for planting, which were insane, but they were ideologically correct. So agriculturally incorrect and dysfunctional, ideologically correct, perfect, right? Ideologically perfect. And, well, what happens? Millions of people starve to death. So there you go. These are the consequences of woke dysfunction. It's creeping up and people don't realize it. They don't know how just deeply, terrifyingly dangerous it is. And I guess we have to keep talking about it so people know. Let's see. Party for Socialism right now in Philadelphia. Healthcare workers host die-in at City Hall to protest Biden and Netanyahu's genocide in Gaza. I know what's happening there is not pretty, but when your population quintuples, when it increases by fivefold, that's not genocide. Okay, just definitionally, it's not genocide. Stop using that word. And look at these useful idiots here, lying there, theater. Healthcare workers, why aren't they fucking dancing, right? That's what we want from them. We want them to dance. TikTok dancing. James Lindsay says, more communist street theater for an evil cause. Losers. Couldn't agree more. Declaration of memes. That says, teachers, when I was a kid, I hope everyone had a good recess. It's time for math. Teachers now. Whiteness is privilege. Now, who is ready to hear about my sexuality? It's funny because it's true. Sadly, it's funny because it's true. The woke mind virus is communism rebranded. Well, yeah. This is Elon Musk. We'll watch this in a second, but basically what happened is in the 60s, the communist leaders, I believe this was happening in France with French communist intellectuals. They realized that Western countries were just too successful for socialism, for communism to be appealing to people, because by that point, people knew how bad it was in communist countries. So they rebranded it, and they went from class Marxism to race Marxism. They figured that's how they'd be able to pit people against each other to bring down the state and rebuild the socialist utopia from the ashes of that, which they must have known wasn't going to be a utopia, and that you just don't get those things without many, many, many people dying, millions of people dying. It's why I don't think that the communists are actually empathetic or good in any way. Let's hear what Elon had to say about this.
Over the past year or so, since purchasing X, you've become more political. Is there a part of you that regrets that?
Have I?
In this battle to sort of counterweigh the woke that comes from
I guess if you consider fighting the woke mind virus, which I consider to be a civilizational threat, to be political, then yes.
So basically going into the battleground of politics. Is there a part of you that regrets that?
Yes, I don't know if this is necessarily sort of one candidate or another candidate, but it's I'm generally against things that are anti-meritocratic or where there's an attempt to suppress discussion, where even discussing a topic is, not allowed. The woke mind virus is communism rebranded.
Over the past year or so,
So Elon Musk says that the woke mind virus is a civilizational threat. I said it first, though, but he agrees with me. I'm taking that as a personal victory, and it is communism rebranded. All right. How long have we been doing this for? An hour, 25 minutes? I think we're going to wrap up pretty soon. Look at this. From Sean McGrath, our prime minister routinely smears any Canadian that disagrees with him, and then he can't seem to understand why he's polling so badly. Could Justin Trudeau be the dumbest PM in Canadian history? Yes. There he is getting a shot, and he's saying vaccines cause adults. Yep, folks. That's the leader of Canada. That's the guy that Canadians voted in 3 times. Now, it looks like he's got no chance to be elected again. Of course, he wants to be. I think he wants to rule Canada forever. But I would say at this point, he's got 0 chance. It would take a miracle for him. He's wearing a shirt called Vaccines Cause Adults. And he says that his adversaries are divisive. He's constantly saying that. What was he thinking? I mean, the dumbest prime minister in history. He got elected 3 times. He can't be that. I think he has like an animal cunning, but he's not smart. I think he's shameless. I think that's his superpower, is that he's shameless. He'll say and do anything. But he's definitely not a brilliant man. Now, his father, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, was a very divisive figure as well. But he was a formidable man. He was intelligent. Whatever you think of him, he wasn't an idiot. You know, Justin Trudeau has profited from his father's name, from his family name. That's all he's inherited from his father. Just that. Uh, Without that name, he never would have become prime minister. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And he became prime minister when times were good. So, people let their guard down. Of course, the media has been 100% behind him. The media in Canada is just as biased as it is anywhere else, probably more so. There's no, there's no conservative news channel in Canada, not like on the TV. There's stuff like Rebel News, which is very popular, right? But there's no analog of Fox News in Canada. That's been very helpful to them. But for everybody, there's a line. I know people that voted for Trudeau who are not going to vote for him again. And I remember telling them, actually, I said, you will vote conservative because everybody's got a line. Well, they found the line. So that's good. Let's move on. The Trudeau government, every gender can menstruate. He's been in for, 8 years now, and he has just riddled Canada with wokeness. Every opportunity. And it's not just his own direct efforts. It's him giving permission to the crazies to go full out. He's saying, I've got your back. In this report, and this is a committee on women's to achieve menstrual equity in Canada, whatever that means. In this report, the committee uses the term women and individuals who menstruate to refer to individuals who have a menstrual cycle. This doesn't even make any fucking sense. The committee notes that the individuals who menstruate predominantly self-identify as women and girls. However, individuals of all genders can menstruate. Women and individuals who menstruate refer to individuals who have a menstrual cycle. Well, that's just women. Surely, at some point, we're going to wake up one morning and we're going to remember that again. Not while Mr. Vaccines Cause Adults is still in office in Canada, sadly. And then again, even after he's gone, I mean, people have to realize that when you get rid of the Justin Trudeaus, their followers have riddled the culture and the institutions like termites. They're going to persist. The permanent bureaucracy. It's going to take a while. We already saw this Vivek thing. What kind of degenerate writes a children's book about cannibalism? In my daddy's belly. That's a pretty good joke. All right. You know what? I think we might be just about done. These two bullets collided in the Battle of Gallipoli in 1915. The chances of this happening are 1 in a billion. Name something more unlikely to happen. Socialism working. Good answer. What's this? Trans-identified individual goes on a full-blown unhinged rant about hospital staff that misgendered him. This has to be the funniest video I've seen yet. Let's take a quick look.
My pronouns. I go in today and literally I was getting served from the fucking minute I walked in, and I was like, girl. I was like, what do you mean, baby? I was like, it's ma'am. Like, it's ma'am. Please refer me as ma'am. That are my pronouns. This motherfucker had the audacity to be like, yes, sir. I was like, I'm like, are you fucking dumb? I was like, I literally just told you that I go by she, her pronouns. Do not call me sir. And then from there, he's like, okay, my bad. And then by the time we're like finished up, he's like, okay, brother. Are you fucking serious? Advantage help is...
Well, you know what? You're just going to have to go somewhere else for your prostate exams from now on. Oh, yeah. Did you hear about this? Mr. Beast, it says, while American YouTuber Mr. Beast's goal was to provide clean drinking water for 500,000 people, activists say his actions shamed the Kenyan government and helped perpetuate the stereotype that Africa is dependent on handouts. The stereotype that Africa is dependent on handouts. Very nice. So he built a bunch of wells in Africa, and the leftists don't like it because, well, there's something wrong with Mr. Beast. I don't know if you can pick up on what it is that they might be objecting to. But there's something about Mr. Beast. They don't like him building wells in Africa. This is how you know they're all so full of shit, right? They're all so full of shit. It is just about, it's about winning. It's about power. It's about the ideology. It's not about, they're not empathetic. They don't actually care about anybody, about anything. They just care about they don't care about helping people. It's just winning. It's just a game. It's a power play. Always. The issue is never the issue. The issue is always revolution. The action is the reaction. Your reaction. 500,000 people get clean drinking water and they're mad about it. It tells you something, right? All right, let's see if we can find one more thing here. What's going on? All right. Holy crap, am I tired? There's Mr. Beast. What's this? Center for Integrative Anti-Racist something or other. This is Canadian. 1 day left. Our decolonizing conference. What do they mean by decolonizing exactly? Well, I guess we found out with the Palestine-Gaza stuff, right? I guess we found out what it means now. But it's been a bit of a mystery. Decolonize. What, like pick everything up and like go back to England? Well, what? Like, you want us to leave the hospitals and the stores and the power plants? Like decolonizing. It doesn't make any sense. What even makes less sense is like when they do that in England, like in European countries. Decolonize. How could you decolonize yourself? Doesn't make any damn sense. Decolonizing conference will begin tomorrow. Get ready for a thought-provoking discussion and inspiring speakers, I'm sure. We can't wait to embark on this journey together. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's more. Okay. Well, is there... Decolonizing conference. What will they talk about? I guess they're just going to complain about white people. I'm assuming. Try and figure out ways to make society dysfunctional. All right, come on. I feel like there's one more really good thing in here somewhere. Let's keep going. All right. You know, that's it. There's nothing. I got nothing else. It's been an hour and 37 minutes. I think that's long enough. It's 3:30 in the morning. I think I've done my job. All right. Well, hope you all enjoyed yourselves with this. Probably some of you are probably, in different times. For some of you, it's probably the morning right now. It's probably like 8 o'clock in the morning. If you're in Well, let's see. England's like 8 hours ahead. Could be like 11:30 there. But I started at 2 o'clock in the morning here because the power went out when I was gonna start at 11:30, exactly at 11:30. And but I and it didn't come back on until 2, and that's when I started. And because I was not gonna let anything stop me. This was too important to me. All right, but that's it. I'm done. Everybody have a great night or morning or whatever the hell's going on.